Euphoria Season 3 Episode 4 just aired, and we gotta talk about it. Spoilers ahead. So the episode opens up and we see that Rue has been pulled over by the cops. She's getting taken in. And we hear her inner voice talking about the truth. Like how people love to argue about what the truth actually is. Is it opinions? Is it facts? But what we all know is when we're telling a lie. And she straight up lies and says nothing's in her car when obviously it is. She gets taken in, fingerprinted, and she starts getting questioned. And they ask her, who's Lori? What's your relationship with her? Have you ever been to Mexico? Stuff like that. And Rue is trying her best to stay cool and to lie, but obviously they have dirt on her. And they let her know for what she's already done, 5 years in federal prison. For what they found in her car, that's an additional 20 years. And then for every death they can link to her, that's an additional 20 years on top of that. So basically they give her two options. She can either just go straight to prison or she can work for them and basically be a rat. Rue's really stressed. They've swapped out the drugs that were in the fanny pack with like sugar pills, laxatives, that kind of stuff. So when she shows back up to the club to talk to Alamo, she's like carrying like not what she was supposed to. She's really stressed. Alamo is celebrating because he's holding the feather of Paladin. Lori's special bird is no longer with us. He's also introduced a new girl to the club named Kitty. And he's like, man, you look like Death, Rue. And Rue's just like really not doing well. She's like, yeah, I'm hungover. But obviously she doesn't want him to really know, like, yeah, she's undercover now. The agents have also installed a new app on her phone so that they could like listen in on stuff. All she has to do is like call mom and put her phone out in front of everyone and they can listen in on what's going on. And they really want her to set up another buy with Lori, but now they have a terrible working relationship. They just unalived Lori's bird, so I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon. Rue's trying to reason with the agents and she's trying to get them someone else. We then see Nate and Cassie. He's making up all these metaphors for his toe injury because he's like, look, it's like, you know, you have to pick the pieces back together. He starts talking about his toe scar and how that's metaphorical, and Cassie's just over it. Cassie's like, no, like, you've lied. Cassie's completely over Nate. She's just so upset with him. She asks Nate, how much do you actually owe? And he lets her know it's around $1 million-ish. So she's fed up and she calls Maddie and then she packs her bag. We see her throw her bags over the banister and she just leaves Nate. And Nate's like, okay, I'm gonna take care of things on my own. So later on we see Nate approach the council to beg them, and he literally begs to please let him continue to build around this endangered flower he found. But the council's like, nope, sorry, and Nate is devastated. But while he's doing that, we see Cassie is now working with Maddie, and Maddie is helping her kind of brand herself, get her more of an online presence. We're treated to a fun scene between all the girls. They're all at Lexi's apartment. And Rose approached Maddie while they're taking photos of Cassie. She's asking Maddie, I need a contact. It's not for me, but I need someone to help me buy some items. And Maddie's like, are you using again? I don't want to help you. And Lexi is so naive because she turns to Cassie and she's like, look at you, you're selling yourself. Rue, look at you, you're trying to buy things. And look at you, Maddie, you're basically becoming a pimp of some sort. She just leaves, but all three of the other girls are just doing their thing. Early in the episode, we see that Lexi has called Jules and given her this opportunity to paint something for one of their shows. Jules shows up and paints something for the show, but unfortunately she's drawn like a really inappropriate painting with a lot of nudity, which loses Lexi's boss thousands upon thousands of dollars, and she really lays into Lexi, and Lexi feels really terrible. She kind of stuck her neck out for Jules, and Jules just doesn't seem at all like appreciative of that. Tell Jules, hey, can you paint over like the inappropriate parts? And she just kind of throws a bunch of red paint on it and just leaves. While this is happening, we see that Lori has buried her special bird, and everyone in her circle is talking about how they want to basically unalive everyone because everyone's so upset. While that's happening, we see that Cassie has pawned off her wedding ring to get an apartment in Lexi's apartment complex. So unfortunately for Lexi, she has to like look across the pool and she just can see like Cassie taking all these photos. Then we're treated to this interesting scene where Rue is sitting at a poker table with Alamo and Bishop and everyone. And initially we see she does not have the winning hand. She is asking Alamo like, hey, you want to set some other stuff up? Like, I can go back to Mexico if that would help. And Alamo's like, hey, hold up. Why would you even offer that? Because that's the thing you said you wanted to get out of when you started working for me. So you know something's up. And Rue's getting extremely uncomfortable. She thinks, oh, he knows I'm a rat. They keep playing the poker hand, and then Alamo's like, oh, are you using again? And Rue's like, yes, that's exactly it. And she gets the winning hand of poker. She's bypassed any suspicion that he thinks that she's like ratting him out. I really like the way that the scene was set up with the poker hand, and she ends up winning the hand and walking away. Maddie tells Cassie to get ready. They're going to this party of like this influencer that has like 20 million followers. And Maddie says, Cassie, what you need to do, you need to get in a photo of his. You need to entice him, try to seduce him, but don't actually follow through with anything, because once you do, he's not gonna have any interest in you. So play the game. And she also warns her, like, there's a bunch of other women at this party. They're not your friends. Don't let them walk all over you, put up a fight. And so we see Cassie interacting at this party, and she starts interacting with that one influencer Maddie had initially started helping and managing. And after some flirting, Cassie and this girl get invited back to this guy's room, and they go up there and they're enjoying a certain substance, and Cassie's just kind of like overdoing it. She's basically just acting like herself, and we see like she really is playing the game against this other girl. Meanwhile, he's locked the door, and so Maddie is called to get a bunch of his friends to open the door. They have the camera there, and eventually they break the door open right before anything happens between him and Cassie. She looks in the camera, says her handle, and then she gets exactly what she wants. She gets more followers, more internet fame. Maddie's like, good, you have their attention, now you have to figure out how to keep it. Back at the club, we see Rue is really stressed out. She's really nervous, but she's looking at the camera and she sees that the new girl, Kitty, that they just brought to the club, is really getting like abused and used in this club. And later on, she approaches the girl in the bathroom and she's like, hey, are you okay? Are you forced into being here? Like, what's going on? And unfortunately, that one girl with the neck brace was in the other stall. She flushes the toilet. She walks outside and she tells Alamo's guy, hey, yeah, I think she might be a rat. She's asking questions. She's acting suspicious. I don't trust Rue. Rue, unfortunately, left her phone in the office, so she goes back in to get her phone. Neck brace girl is telling her like, yeah, you're a rat. And so they start fighting back and forth. Rue gets a phone call from mom, which is actually not her mom. It's the agents, and they're telling her, yeah, you need to put up a fight because that girl's trying to rat you out and you need to figure out how to incriminate her and not you. And while that's happening, Lori's guys show up and steal from Alamo's safe, and they bust into the door. The manager guy gets pew-pewed in the stomach, and they're forcing him to open the safe. They steal from him, and they run out to the car, and they jump in the car. But they check the security cameras after all this happens. They realize that the car doesn't have any plates. They can't really tell who stole from them, but they can see the getaway driver, and guess who it is? It's Faye. And Rue's like, yep, that girl's name is Faye. So we know Faye's in trouble. They know it's Lori's gang. And chaos is definitely going to ensue in the next episode. I don't know what's going to happen, but there's so much going on in Euphoria right now. What did you think of episode 4?